The Tiger Mom debate has captured the attention of parents all across the country. From the cover of Time magazine to the bestseller lists, Amy Chua's book, Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother, about strict Asian parenting has exploded. Now our Juju Chang sat down with the author to talk about this uproar.
There's a lot of controversy. Robin, I call myself a tiger cub because I was raised by tiger parents. I think you were too.
Oh, my parents were very strict.
Right?
Very loving, but very strict.
Loving
yes.
but strict. No play dates, no slumber parties, and that's part of the controversy. But is this style of uber tough love parenting actually good for kids? I always swore I would never raise my kids that strictly. But when I spoke to Amy Chua about the controversy caused by headlines like Chinese mothers are superior, she says she's been misunderstood. Let's start with the reaction to the book. It has been so polarizing. People either love you or love to hate you.
Absolutely, and I didn't expect this level of intensity. The book, of course, it's not a how-to guide. It's really about my own journey and transformation as a mother.
You've got death threats, so much vitriol online. What do you think people are afraid of?
It just feels like it's had a life of its own. I mean, people saying terrible things about my kids, wishing bad things on my family. So I guess it's just so personal for everybody.
Now, I've heard that from a lot of my friends who feel like Amy Chua is giving us a bad name. She's making us look like we're all harsh dragon moms.
I'm sad about that, and I'm a little puzzled because, you know, again, the last third of the book, it's not a tiger, it's a crying little rabbit.
No one likes to have their parenting criticized.
I didn't intend it to be a criticism of other people. I teach, and I can see that so many people get to great places so many different ways. You know, lenient parents, strict parents, Western parents, Eastern parents.
You know, full disclosure, I was raised by tiger parents who wanted a lot from me and had very high expectations and drove me very hard. And I think I responded in exactly the opposite way. I mean, I was full of insecurity and pressure and self-doubt, and it took me years to get over it. And my parenting style is quite the opposite of yours, actually, because I adopted almost a full-bore Western style of parenting.
Right, but again, you know, my book sort of is completely sympathetic to that, right? Because at the end, I'm saying, listen to your child, and if they are crying out for you, this isn't working, you have to stop.
Okay, one of the more controversial excerpts from the book was when you rejected your daughter's Mother's Day card. How cruel.
That story has gotten out of control.
I have the New York Post article here that your daughter wrote defending you. But let's face it, the card was feeble and I was busted. If I actually tried my best at something, you'd never throw it back in my face.
Never. Never. You know, both my daughters know that if they really, really put their best effort, then that's good enough for me.
So you're not saying if you don't get an A, I won't love you?
Oh, are you kidding? I don't care about the A. You know, it is like, I believe in you so much. I love you more than anything. But I'm going to stick with you.
But you're saying in the book repeatedly, A- is not acceptable. I mean, what does that mean? If it's not acceptable,
well, you have to realize that the book is a little bit self-parodying, because that, you know, I experienced that as a kid.
And what if one of them came home and said, I want to quit piano, or I want to quit violin?
Well, this happened, and I let her quit. I didn't let her quit for a long time, but we had a crisis, and at some point I realized she was saying, I'm unhappy.
So whether it's culinary school or beauty school or anything that doesn't involve college, you'd be okay with it?
I would be okay with it.
Really?
I believe that I do believe in excellence, or trying for excellence. I do, you know. But I think you can be excellent at anything.
What 3 pieces of advice would you give to a new parent?
Self-question more. I was overconfident. You know, what are all these Western parents, you know, so anxious about? Just be firm. Listen to your child, I would say. You know, you got to know and listen to your child. I wonder if that's what it all comes down to.
But that sounds kind of like wimpy Western parenting to me.
Well, those are the first 2 things.
Okay, give me the third then.
Don't assume your child is weak. If you, your parent, assume that they can't take anything, what kind of signal are you sending them? My daughter, Lulu, came back with a bad math test when she was about 10, and she said, I hate math, I'm bad at math. I didn't accept that. I said, I am making these practice tests, and I hand wrote them, and I drilled them with her for a week, and the next test, she did really well, and guess what? She decided she didn't hate math. And then her friends started calling her a math whiz, and now math is one of her favorite subjects.
You know what's so fascinating about this is I don't know whether to be repulsed by that or completely jealous that you were able to.
It can be both.
It could be both, and maybe it is both. Maybe that's why you're getting such a strong reaction. Now, she says she's evolved into the rabbit mom, but you know, the columnist David Brooks called Amy Chua a wimp, arguing that it's the very cognitive skills that you pick up at a play date or a slumber party that gives you success in life. Those were the things she used to forbid. She now says she allows them. And I heard you listening to it. It sounded like a biography for you.
Well, no, in some ways. I mean, like, we were not allowed to have sleepovers until a certain age, but people could sleep over at our house. But it was more of a thing of my parents not knowing the families, and we had to take piano lessons to a certain age, and then it became optional. But no, I mean, I'd be the last one to give anybody parenting advice.
Exactly.
And who knows, what works for one may not work for the other.
Exactly.
Who knows? All right. We'll talk after this.
Exactly.
We'll grab a cup of
All
coffee, and I
good
want to know the
lessons
behind the scenes stories.